So the next recipe that we wanted to focus on was using kind of minimal amounts of protein. So I spoke about this earlier, that those with kidney cancer might need to limit or restrict the amount of protein that they're intaking. And again, really there's no restriction unless indicated by the doctor. And in that case, really important to get in touch with your dietitian so that you could start learning and calculating specific numbers here. Because at times, the protein produces, when it's broken down in your body, it produces a waste product, and that waste product is filtered from the blood by the kidneys. Okay, so again, only when indicated is it necessary to really, monitor that amount, but otherwise, it does not mean that you need to restrict it. And the same thing goes for phosphorus. So protein, in a healthy, balanced diet, you really want to aim for lean sources. And in this specific recipe, we're looking at a specific type of fish that we've chosen. And so I'll let Jeremy kind of begin to show us what he's created.
Yeah, awesome. So I'll try to bend down here so you can see me. We're doing sort of a take on the classic Nicoise salad, which is it's one of my favorite salads. It usually has some type of fish, maybe tuna, some different vegetables, and the Nicoise olives, obviously, which is sort of classic to that dish. And it's very vibrant and fresh. And so we wanted to do a take on that with our summer salad, and we're going to grill the vegetables just because the weather has been so great to do some grilling, even if it's indoors. I'm at ELLICSR and we're in the basement and in our kitchen, so there isn't a barbecue, but I'm going to do it on a grill pan. And so we're going to grill up some vegetables. We have a little piece of fish on there as well, and we're going to make this really nice sort of fresh summer salad. So for the vegetables themselves, I don't know if you can see the cam here, I put a few on. Now, if you're doing this on the barbecue or if you're doing it inside, traditionally what I like to do with the vegetables is cut them, wash them, but throw them onto your grill dry. I don't put any oil on them yet, just because that oil, especially if you have a higher heat on the barbecue, it can start to burn and become smoky, and it will sort of impart like a bitter flavor. So you don't really want that. So I put them on dry just until I get some nice grill marks. And then once they've softened a bit, I can take them off the direct heat and dress them up. And the same with the fish. The fish I have on a grill pan, so I don't actually have any flames in direct contact. But with something like fish or other proteins, you want to limit the amount of flame contact with the protein itself. So a couple ways in which you can do that is, number one, you can use something like this, which is a plank. It's a little cedar plank, okay? And you would put the fish on there, throw it onto the side of the barbecue that doesn't have heat, and you have the side of the barbecue on that does have heat, and then you just close the lid. And we call that indirect heat cooking. So the heat from the barbecue is still going to be able to cook the fish, but you don't have that direct flame contact with the fish, which is good. Also, if you have like a grill pan that you can put onto the barbecue where it would protect the fish from direct flame, that's another way as well. And then also another little barbecue tip that I picked up was have a little spritz bottle close by. And you can put some water in there, even some lemon water. And anytime you see the flames come up a little bit, you can sort of control them and spritz them down. Maybe give a spritz to yourself to cool down, and then you can give a spritz to your ingredients to cool down as well. So that's all I've done here. I've grilled up some different vegetables. Asparagus is beautiful, in season, local right now. Some zucchini peppers, whatever you have. And then if you want to use fish, choose the fish that you like. We're using a trout today. but that can easily be, you know, tofu. We can do just vegetables if you want, or even if you just have canned tuna, you know, or like a canned, you know, boneless salmon. You can make it easy for yourself and do it that way as well.
So I'm just going to jump in here also to add, so when we're talking about, you know, those watch out nutrients for some people with kidney cancer, you know, I mentioned protein earlier, and these are really, you know, they are needed in the body. Why? We need to maintain and build muscle mass, but for some people with kidney cancer, it can cause a buildup. Okay, and because the kidneys filter out some of the waste products, there can be some symptoms and side effects. Okay, so again, working with your doctor and dietitian to kind of arrange how much you specifically would need. Now, you wouldn't know this unless you know, had that conversation and were told. So really make that watch out for that. So it's not saying don't have it, but you might need to limit it. So some sources, like Jer said, you could add tofu, fish, poultry. The other thing is, another watch out is the phosphorus. Okay, and for some people with kidney, you know, reduced kidney function, the phosphorus might increase in the blood. Okay, so again, speaking with a dietitian to arrange how much, you know, your body could needs. But again, some sources that are high in phosphorus are things like nuts and beans, and moderate amounts are things like milk, cheese, meat, fish, and poultry. Okay, so just kind of knowing those foods that might be high in phosphorus is important, but unless otherwise indicated, there's no need to limit that amount.
Okay, so back over here on the cutting board, bring it in. Just roughly chopped up those grilled vegetables. Now, this is the time where if you want to add a little bit of olive oil or dressing, you can do that. I'm just going to add like a very little amount because I'm going to make a dressing after, but I want to keep them sort of hydrated here. So we have these beautiful grilled vegetables. Also, I'll mention with the asparagus here, a little tip, especially when they're a little longer, there is sort of a common, I guess, instruction on how to trim these asparagus. And I think, you know, if you've heard it, you grab it on both ends, you bend it, and then wherever it snaps is where you have the tender piece and the piece that you discard. Now, if you look at where it snapped, for me, with this one, it's almost the same length. So I find that sometimes you waste a little bit more than necessary. You can find that the woody part of the asparagus is usually like the last inch there. So I tend to just cut that piece off. Okay, so you can see a lot less waste. The rest is really nice and tender. This, you can, the bottoms you can even save and throw them in a stock after if you like. Okay, so asparagus done, beautiful vegetables grilled. The trout is also finished here, and I can tell when it sort of flakes apart really easily, which it's doing now. So that's fantastic. And we're almost ready to plate this. I'm going to make a really nice dressing. All right. See that? We're going to add some lemon juice. And we're looking for about 2 tablespoons. You can use lime juice. You can use a little red wine vinegar if you want. But that acidity, again, because we're really not adding a lot of salt here, that acidity is going to help to enhance the flavors of your vegetables and your fish and everything else that's going on. So it's a really nice flavor booster. I don't have quite 2 tablespoons of lemon juice in there, so this is when we go to plan B. We're going to add a little bit of vinegar just to bump it up a bit. Just so we have about 2 tablespoons. All right, so a little red wine vinegar in there. Beautiful. I'm going to add about 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Yes, it seems like a lot, but I'm making a massive salad here. And what's nice about this is I'm making it in a mason jar. So I'm going to shake it up, make the dressing. If I have leftover, I can always store that in the fridge after. We're going to add a touch of Dijon mustard here. Okay, not too much, but that's going to help to emulsify this dressing and give you this really nice sort of creamy dressing there. And we're going to give this a shake. So lid on. And we'll give it a shake. I don't know if it's too fast with this camera. If you can see it. You can get your exercise in this way as well, like Christine was talking about. Beautiful. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, but really nice sort of homogeneous mixture now. Creamy dressing. We forced that acid and that olive oil to come together. Beautiful. And we're going to now throw that on top of whatever herbs you have. And the more the better. This is when you do not want to be shy on the herbs. This is going to add a ton of fresh flavor to our salad. So whatever you have, you can mix it up. I have a little bit growing at home, which was nice. So I have some chives, some cilantro. I think there's some mint I had from the first recipe, whatever it is, basil, tarragon. Throw it in there. And we're going to pour that dressing over top and just give it a really nice sort of mix. So you have it's almost like a little rustic pesto in a way.
Yeah. And also, again, just kind of reiterating that, point about the sodium that we discussed in the last recipe. Again, we're really flavoring and boosting those tastes with lots of herbs and spices. And now's the time. Summertime is here, right? So again, no need to add that sodium, right? That that in order to have that flavor, we're able to do it through other ways, right? So be creative in those spices and herbs that you're using.
Okay, so we're ready to plate. We're not messing around here. I have just some lettuce leaves. This is just like a Bibb or Boston lettuce. You can use any nice fresh lettuce, wash it up, right in the bottom. Then we're gonna take all these amazing grilled vegetables. And so that's the thing here. That's the magic, is we have a little bit of warm, a little bit of cold, a little bit of the fresh from the salad and the herbs, but then a little bit of this sort of cooked and grilled and rich flavors from the barbecued fish and grilled vegetables. And I mean, look at the color too, which is awesome. I know Steph loves talking about color. We love using color. But again, whatever you have at home, make it easy for yourself.
Yeah, and again, when we talk about, for those who don't need to be on any type of restriction, then we, gear towards having that balanced plate. So yeah, like Jeremy said, I love lots of color. Talking about the color of the rainbow. So getting your vegetables and fruit, and really each color represents a different antioxidant, a different anti-inflammatory property that is important for your wellness journey. And then again, adding some protein there. This keeps you fuller for longer. And earlier in the introduction spoke a little bit about how some people might experience diabetes, so inability to control blood sugars. And so this type of dish, high in fiber, high in protein, is also going to be able to control those blood sugar levels, which I love.
All right, beautiful. Steph, how are we looking here?
Looks great. I love it.
Lots of color. And then the last thing is a really super herbaceous dressing. And again, you can see I don't really season any of the ingredients with anything before, other than like a touch of olive oil with the vegetables. So this especially when it's nice and warm. This is when those warm ingredients, the vegetables, the fish, are going to start to just suck up all of this dressing. And you can almost, smell, not almost, I can, but maybe you can almost smell all the herbs. All right, beautiful. So I like to go a little extra. And again, if the Nicoise olives I didn't use because I couldn't find them, also because they can tend to have a little bit more salt, a little more sodium. So that's up to you if you did want to add them there to be like it's a little more traditional. But I think we did a pretty good job with our tasty summer grilled Nicoise salad. Awesome.
Cool.